What's going on YouTube? Welcome to another video, and we are doing some more bench here. You're going to see some clips from my basic Saturday, which has now become an all upper body type of day, so basically chest, shoulders, and back, and then arms, of course. And this used to be my strongman day, so this was always the day I always look forward to, where I could just throw stuff around and have fun, but I think those strongman days are probably over, at least for now. Time to recover, get back to where I'm at, and then reevaluate from there. So I made this my secondary bench day, which is my close grip day. So on the previous video of benching, I'll do that wide grip or pinkies on the ring, which is pretty standard for most people when they bench. And I want to do both. I always liked close grip for the tricep involvement. I felt like it carries over pretty well for OHP. And then just another bench session is always beneficial to be able to do stuff. So just got to get back up there where I can get to a certain weight and actually, be able to alternate. Like traditionally when I would bench heavy, it would be heavy with the wide grip, and then I'd fall somewhere intermediate with the close grip. But now I'm basically keeping them at the same pace just to use the same weight, get some more time under tension, and be able to do all that. So it's been rough. The bandage is still on, still having some recovery issues that I'm trying to, work out in the background. But I'm just happy to be benching, and it is what it is. I'm happy to just put the effort in and earn my stripes again, which you're going to hear time and time again, because as I'm reflecting back on these videos, it's just, man, I remember being here, when you're a kid and you're struggling, you just don't have the strength. You're trying to build the strength to get to where you want to be, so we're back here again. It just feels different to physically have the strength, but know that your body's not quite ready for those heavier weights. So taking my time monitoring things and, keeping you guys updated if there's any sort of change or something that I want to do. I have moved around some things. There are going to be some day changes, which you'll notice, and they'll be addressed in the actual video. But as of right now, pretty consistent, and I'm not really concerned about many things. I just want to be on that path where I'm working towards something. I don't know if you're one of those people, but I'm one of those people that if I don't have like a purpose in what I'm doing, I kind of get lost. I like to be working towards a goal, finish that goal, move on to the next one. So OHP is going to be my passion project at this point, because it is just not going the way that I wanted it to. It's just doesn't feel like it should. And this used to be my go-to lift where I would always feel great, but I don't know, just trying to figure all this stuff out and go from there. So I'm not too happy with the progress, but little by little we'll get back to where we want to be. Let the body heal. It's pretty resilient. Let it recover and just kind of go from there. So you're going to, again, hear me repeat that constantly, but I think you need to continue to hear that when you're injured. Some days are not going to be great, and you're going to have the mental fortitude to overcome them. And that's what this whole series is about. It's about coming back. For years I trained without issues, and it was, not unlimited progress. But basically, as long as I trained, put the effort in, and took care of myself, I would see results and get stronger. And now it's a little bit different. So now it's on me to figure all that stuff out. Go nice and slow, change things up. And, maybe it'll be for the better. Maybe it would have prevented a more serious injury down the line. But just really listening to my body now. You're going to be your greatest source of feedback for almost anything you do. So just keep doing it. Listen to your body. Taper off when you feel like you should taper off. And, just enjoy the time that you have and enjoy the training sessions you're able to get in. So moved on. Flat bench here. Again, I mentioned it was another upper body day. So I do incline on my wide grip bench day, and then flat on the close grip day. And flat just feels really good. Obviously not a lot of shoulder involvement compared to incline, but it's just nice to be able to move the weight and get a nice pump in the chest. And working my way back up. It's also way easier to kick the dumbbells up. You're not going up like an incline, which can irritate the shoulder if you've got issues or anything like that. So, and trying to slow down the movement as much as I can. Naturally I just want to power everything through and use as much force as possible, but learning to really take my time, feel the movement out, let all the muscle fibers stretch, and kind of go from there. And you can see here, just with the angles, I've got a whole process where I'll set my back, use the weights to kind of leverage my back in position, get my feet, and then drive. And obviously it's not a lot of weight, so it's not anything crazy, but I try to be as consistent as I am on this lift with the 50s as I would be with anything else, 100-pound dumbbells plus or whatever. It's the same thing over and over again. And flat cable flies have honestly become my favorite chest exercise. There's something about cable crossovers where you don't have the correct height or whatever. It's hard to get that contraction. And you can see me here just really taking my time, letting the pecs stretch, and then also just trying to be easy on my arm to make sure I can get to the right range of motion. And then just maintaining that constant tension throughout the whole movement. So always been an exercise I've enjoyed. I've tried the incline version. It just doesn't feel okay with the shoulder. So flat it is, and as long as I can get a pump and get the muscle working, I'm happy about it. And just really tried to show the symmetry here with the movement as much as I could. Sometimes when you're working with these cable setups, there could be differences in like the clip length, or you position yourself wrong or whatever. So just do your best to try to be as even as you can. And nothing's in perfect alignment and symmetry. It may appear that way, but we've all gotten balances everywhere. And, you just have to deal with that. And in my case, it's the arm. So the arm that's injured dictates how much weight we're using and the recovery. So I'm going off of that, and that will be my speed bump to not using too much weight. So I guess another set here. I really like these cable flies. So just a cool angle here, and just really showing. I try not to hit my knuckles together. I try to bring my palms together, but sometimes when you're in that deep stretch, you don't even notice you're doing it until you feel the knuckles physically hit each other. So really happy that these are feeling great and I can do them. I don't think I could consider doing them with a dumbbell just for that reason. Cable lateral raises here just to keep the whole shoulder girdle healthy, and some time away from dumbbells. It's just not, dumbbells are tough on the forearms, and especially if you're having grip issues. So it's really just focusing on that. And I'll either do the Egyptian style, which is behind the back, which I was trying to maneuver myself, but when I support myself with the injured arm, it just doesn't feel well. So if it doesn't feel well, I'll just do these out in front, and then just trying to slow these down. That's what I really have to work, my best on, is slowing down these bodybuilding movements to really get the most out of them. But like I mentioned, I come from like a strength lifting background where you want to accelerate as quickly as you can to be as efficient as possible, but bodybuilding's a little bit different. So you just have to find that gear and pull back in certain times. So back here, I love working back. It just always feels really great. And I'm using the close grip version on this. On my other back day, I'll do wider grip stuff. This is just for some variety, controlled movement here. And I'm starting to really touch more on the chest and kind of let my back travel further back. It's when you're a thicker guy, it's harder to get the right contraction unless you go really wide. But I do believe there's a big benefit to close grip, lat work. And I enjoy it. It makes your arms look cool in the mirror. And, it's just fun to do. It's fun to move weight on it. So kind of backing out, kind of what I was talking about before. Just really trying to bring it down in front of me into the pecs and really get that lat contraction. You can feel that scapular retraction and feels good. I was starting to get soreness I hadn't been getting before just by slowing stuff down, taking my time, and really just going for there. So it's the basics that work. It's feeling the movement, and it's being consistent, adding weight over time, coming in and doing it. And then here's the unilateral low row. And again, this weight's going to be dictated by the injured arm. So just taking my time and trying to feel that contraction, doing a little bit of a twist here. It feels good to me though. Honestly, it feels like I'm utilizing the bicep a little bit more. So I'm hoping that helps with recovery and stuff like that. It does take a little bit longer, but it does make me think about the movement and really stretch that lat out. And on the right side, when I do it, the uninjured side, it feels like nothing. So I have to remind myself to slow down. And as I try to recreate these movements, you can kind of see, it moves a lot easier, but you can see the lat engagement. When I lean forward, you can see the stretch in the lat. And I think that's really important. That's something that I learned early on, is to let the whole lat stretch. and then lead with the elbow. You know, your arm is basically an anchor, and if you're having trouble kind of understanding that, take your thumb off any pulling movement you're doing, with the exception of deadlifts, so you want the whole support, and then pull through that elbow. If you take away the thumb, it will really emphasize that lat engagement. And obviously, if you want the best of both worlds, throw it back on there once you've learned that movement. But once you know what it feels like to really engage the lats, because you're coming almost like a reverse bench press. You're coming down with that J and you're rowing into yourself. That's why they call it a row, like if you're rowing a boat. It's a cyclic movement almost, where you're not just pulling directly into your chest. You're using that curvature to engage the lats. The same thing on bench. When you're benching, it's not just a straight up and down. You're bringing the bar down and then you're driving up in a J curve back up above you. And so if you can emulate that on these lat movements, even on the chest movements in that same degree but in the reverse, you'll see a lot of progress there and you'll feel it better. You'll see a lot of people will do like the lawnmower dumbbell rows, and it's, you know, their chest is caved in and there's no lat engagement. Obviously your lats are working because of how else you're supporting the weight, but they're just not getting the most benefit out of it too. And I threw in some incline curls. I wanted some supination variation that wasn't just standing in front of a mirror doing curls, but man, incline on these, they suck. There's something about the way that my supination is, and this is even before the surgery and the injured arm. I just cannot get that correct contraction. I think it comes from my dainty little wrists. When I hold the dumbbell, you know, my wrists kind of want to cave in, so I'm constantly fighting that urge, which is so confusing to me. Because I've got decent forearms for my size and then arms as well too. I just cannot hold on to a weight. And so even when deadlifting, if I wasn't able to use alternating grip, I wouldn't be able to deadlift the majority of the weight that I do. So it's the strangest thing. I've done hook grip and stuff before, but I'm not going to hook grip dumbbells to get a bicep pump. And just really taking my time and angling myself in with the tricep pushdowns. There are some other arm exercises you're going to see in the overview of the workout, but I'm not going to show all of them. They're just a little bit more intricate. But thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching the latest video. If you want to help support the channel, I actually own my own wet shaving and grooming e-commerce website where everything's handmade by me. It's www.apexsoaps.com, and you can get a 10% off code using wet shaver. We've got some cool scents here. We've got some Coca-Cola scents, a horchata scent, traditional barbershop, just some really cool stuff. And you can purchase samples or you can buy the whole set. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out via email. Be quick to respond. Thanks for watching.